finding her way and her voice.
I'm very lucky that I
Hello
can.
lovelies, my name is Laura and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to take a deep dive into the heartbreaking story of Brooke Shields, exploitation in Hollywood. From the outside looking in, it may seem like the life of a child actor is all glitz and glamour, but the truth is far from it. Brooke's story is a reminder of the darker side of Hollywood and how even the most famous faces can be victims of exploitation. Today we're going to be discussing the tragic story of Brooke Shields' exploitation in Hollywood. Brooke was just a child when she began her career as a model and actress, and she quickly became one of the most recognizable faces in the entertainment industry. However, behind the fame and success, there was a darker side that few knew about. Brooke's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of the entertainment industry and how even the most talented and beautiful can be victimized. So let's take a closer look at Brooke Shields' tragic story and the lessons we can learn from it. Brooke Krista Shields is an American actress and model. She started out as a child model and received praise for her major role in Louis Mayall's movie Pretty Baby when she was just 12 years old in 1978. She continued modeling into her late teenage years and appeared in several dramas in the 1980s, including Franco Seffarelli's Endless Love and The Blue Lagoon. Brooke Shields put an end to her modeling career in 1983 to enroll at Princeton University, where she earned a bachelor's degree in Romance languages. Brooke Shields resumed acting in the 1990s and made cameo appearances in a few movies. And now let's look into her early life. On May 31st, 1965, Brooke Christina Shields was born in Manhattan, New York. Terry Shields, an actress and model, and Frank Shields, a businessman, were her parents. Her father had English, French, Irish, and Italian ancestry, while her mother was of English, German, Scottish, Irish, and Welsh lineage. When Terry revealed she was pregnant, Frank's family gave her money to have the baby aborted. Shields was born as a result of Terry taking the money while breaking the terms of the deal. Shields' parents, Terry and Frank, divorced when she was only 5 months old. 3 half-sisters and 2 stepbrothers make up her family. Brooke Shields' mother publicly declared her desire for her to be involved in the entertainment industry when she was only 5 days old, saying, "She's the most beautiful child and I'm going to help her with her career." Shields studied the piano, ballet, and horseback riding as a child. She lived in Hayworth, New Jersey, just across the George Washington Bridge from Manhattan, where she attended high school. Shields had claimed that her first interaction with paparazzi occurred when she was 12 years old at the Grand Ballroom of the Waldorf Astoria in New York. She claims that she debuted at the Waldorf and that she stood like a statue, wondering why they were all paid to shoot photos of me. Shields finished 8th grade at the New Lincoln School. In 1983, she received her diploma from the Dwight Englewood School in Englewood, New Jersey. She decided to complete her bachelor's degree in French literature at Princeton University, from which she earned her diploma in 1987. She belonged to both the Cap and Gown Club and the Princeton Triangle Club. On Your Own, her autobiography was released in 1985. The Initiation from Innocence to Experience, the pre-adolescent/adolescent journey in the films of Louis Malle, Pretty Baby, and Lacombe Lucien, was the title of her senior thesis from 1987. And now let's look at her early work. In 1966, when Shields was just 11 months old, she started her modeling career. Her first assignment was for Ivory Soap, where Francesco Scalvulo took her picture. With the help of model agent Eileen Ford, she continued to be a successful child model. According to her Lifetime biography, Ford developed her children's division specifically for Brooke Shields. Shields collaborated with filmmaker Woody Allen on the 1977 picture Annie Hall, but her contribution wasn't included in the final cut. When Shields was 12 years old, she appeared in the divisive movie A Pretty Baby as a young call girl. Ford Modeling Agency's founder Eileen Ford had this to say about Brooke Shields. She's special and a working child. She speaks and thinks like an adult. And that's so disturbing. And at 14 years old, Brooke Shields was the youngest fashion model to ever grace the cover of Vogue magazine. Shields starred in contentious print and television advertisements for Calvin Klein jeans the same year. She recited the well-known catchphrase in the TV commercial, "You want to know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing." Klein's career would soar to super designer level thanks to the Brooke Shields advertisements. I honestly thought she was 18 because I remember studying the history of fashion and they would talk about this ad when we look at the 70s, and honestly I'm shocked that she was so young. That is a little creepy if you think about it. In a court case in New York City from 1981 to 1983, Brooke Shields, her mother, photographer Gary Gross, and Playboy Publishing argued over the ownership of images that her mother had granted to Gross. When dealing with models who are minors, a parent or legal guardian must sign such a release form while other agreements are subject to negotiation. With Terry Shields okay, Gross took a contentious series of nude photos of Brooke Shields in 1975 when she was just 10 years old for the Playboy press magazine Sugar and Spice. Brooke Shields is shown in the pictures standing and sitting in a bathtub while undressed, doused in oil, and wearing makeup. Because of an old quirk in New York law, the courts decided in the photographer's favor. If Brooke Shields had been viewed as a young performance rather than a model, things could have turned out differently, and that is really creepy that she was in Playboy at such a young age. Shields' dual careers as a provocative fashion model and young actress by the age of 16 had made her one of the most famous faces in the country. Her day rate as a model was $10,000 according to the cover article of Time magazine's February 9th, 1981 issue. Brooke Shields made an appearance on the covers of the September issues of Paris Vogue, American Vogue in October, and in November, Italian Vogue. Shields started frequenting Studio 54 in New York City during that time in the early 80s. And now let's talk about her film. Brooke Shields played a young girl named Violet who resided in a brothel in the film Pretty Baby, which came out in 1978, which served as her first significant acting role, in which there were numerous nude scenes. When the movie was released, she was only 12 years old, and sexually inappropriate behavior and controversy ensued while filming this movie. It's so creepy that her mom was game for all this. I guess she was just so desperate for the money. And then we have Blue Lagoon in 1980, which featured intimate scenes between adolescent lovers on a tropical island. Shields later testified before a U.S. congressional inquiry that older body doubles were used in some of the scenes, and the film Endless Love are still arguably two of her best-known films after 2 decades of cinema. Endless Love was first given an X rating, and to obtain an R rating, the movie went under re-editing. And now let's discuss the documentary that just came out on Hulu called Pretty Baby. In the 2-part documentary, the actress Brooke Shields, who's been a celebrity since she was just a young child, speaks candidly about her amazing life, including how she split with Michael Jackson and came to grips with her early films, which are now largely considered sexually inappropriate. Shields' alarming over-sexualization by the film business persisted throughout her childhood, and it's incredible that any of her films were even made. If you look at them nowadays like that, I don't think that would happen. When she was just 11 months old, she got her first job on this Irish soap commercial that I mentioned before, and then at 10 she posed in Playboy, and then 12 she was in Pretty Baby. So obviously her track record is pretty disturbing, and she was forced to kiss her co-star Keith Carradine, who was 27 at the time. At the age of 15, her performance in the teen blockbuster The Blue Lagoon propelled her into international stardom. All we have to wait for is when the two will learn about fornication, noted film critic Pauline Kael of the movie about 2 shipwrecked youths learning their sexuality at the time. Along with the acting in a slew of lewd Calvin Klein commercials, which I previously discussed, when she was just a child, and these Calvin Klein commercials were when she was just a kid, only 14, and then when she was 16 years old, she appeared on the cover of Time magazine with the caption "That's 80s look. It is weird that someone underage would be that 80s look. You think they'd find someone in their 20s even. And Brooke Shields says, I was the face of that entire age and appeared on the cover of Time magazine. She questioned in the upcoming documentary's trailer, who decides that? It is weird to think that someone is responsible for labeling her. Harry Shields, a working class single mother who battled alcoholism her entire life, has come under fire from critics and fans for failing to shield her daughter from the creepy gaze of the entertainment industry. One top agent referred to the teenager as so beautiful that strong men forget to flick their cigarette ash. I feel like men should not be saying whether or not Brooke Shields is beautiful. The 57-year-old actress, however, has consistently stood up for her mother, claiming that she always enjoyed her profession and was never coerced into any of the parts. She even thanked her mother for always going with her to interviews and events, and she frequently went to Studio 54 as a teenager, which allowed her to save her virginity for her college boyfriend, Dean Cain, when she was 22. And Brooke Shields had inappropriate adult acts committed on her in her early 20s by an unidentified actor. The upcoming documentary's most alarming allegation is that she was taken advantage of in an inappropriate way by a friend who was at the time a powerful Hollywood producer. It kind of sounds like Weinstein or something along those lines, in my opinion. After she graduated from the Ivy League school in Princeton in 1987, the two went out for dinner to talk about potential movie ideas. Later, from his hotel room where the event occurred, he urged her to order a taxi. He had me exactly right, says Brooke. Regarding the traumatic event, Brooke Shields claims that it was exactly like wrestling. In addition, Shields claims that she froze. She refrained from fighting back out of dread of death. She says, God knows I knew how to be disassociated from my body, and that had worked. And that's so disturbing. I really wonder who it was. She acknowledged that it took her a while to digest the incident, and at times she even laid the responsibility at her own feet. I can trust you, but I can't trust them, he told me. It's so cliche that it's almost pitiful, she said. I thought that somehow my message was sent out, and that's how it was received. At supper, I sipped wine. I ascended to the space. I simply had a lot of faith. When Brooke Shields and Michael Jackson became friends in 1981, she was 13 and he was 20. They bonded on their similar experience as child stars. Brooke Shields told the Sunday Times about their frequent attendance of award ceremonies as each other's dates. He was so famous and I was so famous, and we could laugh at everyone like little kids. Brooke Shields' dismay, he revealed that the two were dating to Oprah Winfrey in 1993. The 1980s icon denied the allegations, claiming that she had turned down his proposal of marriage and their adoption of a kid. Jackson said to a different interviewer in 2001, "We dated a lot. My mirror, my wall, and other surfaces were covered in her images." Brooke Shields said, I called him up and I think I said, this is kind of pathetic that you need to do this. I'm having a shot at a normal life. You cannot drag me into this crazy town. When questioned if they ever dated, even once, Shields replied, no. There was one moment when we were in the car and the cameras were there and he grabbed me to kiss and I said, no, stop. And we are just friends and you need me as a friend. So it is kind of weird that Michael Jackson was claiming that they were dating. I don't know. What do you think? She was shocked about the multiple inappropriate allegations against Michael Jackson. Given their close relationship, many people were curious about what Shields thought about the numerous accusations Jackson faced between 1993 and 2005 of inappropriate sexual behavior. She acknowledged in the documentary that it is so hard to believe and that she did not know how to think about it. And Brooke Shields says, I desire to know the reality, then I could decide how to organize the story in my head. But I'm just as astonished as I imagine everyone else is, she continued. And Brooke Shields reveals her mother Terry used the system to have a better life, which is common for the momager type. That happened to Judy Garland, that happened to Jean Harlow. Although Shields had always denied any responsibility for her mother's actions, claiming that she would rip your and make you eat them to anyone who mistreated her. Shields admits in the documentary that we both used that system to have a better life. She goes on to say that she experienced the difficulties of being a young breadwinner and took on several jobs to help take care of her drunken mother. And that is a lot of pressure on her. Terry claims in a recently discovered TV interview that Brooke is like a work of art while defending her decision to thrust Shields into the spotlight at such a young age. The actor said, and like any great picture, the world should observe Brooke and enjoy her. And Brooke Shields admitted that she had never kissed anyone until the on-screen kiss in the movie Pretty Baby. Brooke Shields apparently made a horrified look as the sequence was being filmed, and the director yelled at her nonetheless, and her mother didn't even intervene at all. And the other actor she was kissing had to soothe Brooke Shields, assuring her by saying, "This doesn't count, it's an act. Everything of it is fantasy," he informed her. She explains in the documentary how she got through the uncomfortable situation on set by putting the sleazy on-screen version of herself apart from the real her. And early on, she says, "I mastered compartmentalization. It served as a means of survival." And Brooke Shields' mother's drinking meant that she wasn't present a lot of the time. And Shields discussed losing her mother in 2021 in an interview with Variety Studio at the year's Sundance Film Festival, where the movie had its world debut. She says, "You'll never fully get over losing a parent," she claimed. "It's a basic instinct. You come to understand where in your heart to put it. I also bid her farewell each time she drank. She was not here because it was there. I was aware of who she was capable of being." She says, "I regret that she won't be able to experience this. She's probably sighing I didn't get enough screen time," as she looks down. And Brooke Shields co-starred with Tom Cruise in the 1981 film Endless Love, which likewise dealt with young sexuality. Shields' toe was reportedly twisted in one of the sex scenes by director Franco Zeffirelli, whose 1968 Romeo and Juliet protagonists are currently suing Paramount over their inappropriate on-screen scenes. In a New Yorker interview, Shields said, "He wanted obviously for me to have a look of distress, or I guess ecstasy, on my face, hence why he did that to my toe, because it didn't hurt and felt dumb. It was incredibly funny, taking me aside and saying, maybe you haven't experienced pleasure, but I'd like you to simply think of blah 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 would have made things simpler. He did it and I was like, really? Why not try directing me instead?" And Brooke Shields' story of exploitation in Hollywood is a stark reminder of the dangers that young actors face in the entertainment industry. It feels like this has just not changed and has been going on since the dawn of Hollywood. I feel like it's probably better now, obviously, because there's laws and rules in place that weren't around in the 70s, 80s, this even happened into the 90s. It's crucial that we continue to raise awareness about the issue and work towards creating a safer environment for child performers. While Brooke's experience was undeniably traumatic, she also used her platform to speak out and advocate for change. Her bravery has inspired others to do the same and fight against this exploitation in Hollywood. It's up to all of us to ensure that young actors and actresses are protected and able to pursue their dreams in a safe and supportive environment. And I'm glad things have definitely changed now versus what it was like a long time ago. But if you even think of the Me Too movement, that's pretty new in the scheme of things when it comes to history and old Hollywood. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Have you watched the documentary? And do you want me to cover any other actresses from the 20th century? All right, see you guys soon. Don't forget to watch some of my other videos. Bye.